want to hear nothing about the Bucks this year. I don't want to hear nothing about the Bucks ever this year. That's why I wish Kobe went to another team just to see where your loyalty lies, man. R.I.P. Kobe, man.
Now, you forget how R.I.P. Kobe. You forget how Josh used to do Kobe's last year?
Wow, it's so disrespectful.
I wanted him.
Like,
all of years, you couldn't even let him go out on like shooting as much as he wanted. You was gonna lose anyway.
Bro, that last year was so bad. Listen, when you've been watching the dude since I've been watching Kobe in the Laker uniform since I was 11. To see him like in that state, it was nasty. And then Byron Scott was there just to hold Kobe's underwear. It was real.
I mean, what you wanted him to legendary and just say he's retiring? He had to play a full season.
Right.
Like, yo, it was. Listen, when that last year started, we 6-7 games in. I remember saying like, "Damn, I want this over. I want him gone. I need this to be over."
Man. Wow, Zion's really special, dog. Yeah, I can't lie.
Man, he got some.
He does got
his sandwiches.
Yeah. He's in that gumbo.
There was one play where he got blocked and he fell, and the dude was like, he's trying to hide that he's tired, but he's really tired because he can't get down the court quick enough.
Yeah.
Is that when he went to go pick up his shoe?
No. It was like literally like probably like I would say like 3 plays ago.
Nah, no BS. I'm like, oh, wow. But I'm impressed with what he can do with his size, though. But he's a couple of sandwiches away,
like
man.
20, 30. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I think that he's one of them dudes like he'd go like a week without playing because he looked good physically in that picture, and then he had to like leave the bubble, so he's out there for like 4 or 5 days. Then you gotta stay in the hotel room for 4 or 5 more days. He misses a week, and he's like,
yeah, he looked like he's dying right now. Like,
it's bad. It's like, yo,
19, 20 years old.
Joel Embiid was kind of out of shape, but not like this.
Right.
And Joel Embiid's like 7 foot, so he could get away a little more.
Yeah.
Right.
He got to do something to something. He got to run the sand or do something. I don't know.
I'm just happy the NBA's back, man. I love the group chat's been booming since then. You know what I mean?
Yo, you can't out-train Diet, man. He got to really get disciplined.
You got to mess with whoever's the best nutritionist out. Yep. Use some of that 100 mil. Find them.
Mm-hmm.
Get right.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I like the Pelicans going forward, but they're gonna need another guy, I think. Because Holiday's probably gone after next year, and
Lonzo got to get better.
Lonzo's gonna be that guy, man. He's gonna be that guy.
No, I mean, I was counting him in, but at best, Lonzo's just he's not like an all-star. He's like just a starting player. Like he's a starting point guard in the league. Like one of the best 30 point guards in the league.
Yeah, he's like a John Stockton Rubio type. Yeah, I hear you.
He ain't no John Stockton.
You know John Stockton.
Let's get this pod started, man. I'm ready, man.
Yeah, are you sure you ready? I don't know. You been hemming up.
Yeah. Nah, I got my drink ready. I'm at my man Playboy Nessa's crib. We vibing out over here. You gonna see I'm gonna have the hookah smoke in a little bit. I gotta turn this podcast up. You know what I mean?
So I just kind of wanted to start with, I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but in Connecticut, they passed like this like groundbreaking legislation to end police qualified immunity. So, you know, for a lot of us here in Rhode Island, man, you know, it's hard to do anything like, you know, to get the police off the force, to get them in trouble, to get them to lose their job because their rights is separate and you really can't do much with it. Now in Connecticut, they've suspended that and created so where now individual towns will be responsible to pay out lawsuits for when people sue. And that could really affect the pay of police officers going forward. How do y'all feel about that?
Man, I love it. At the end of the day, any job that you have in America, you're held accountable for your actions. And especially if you go astray and go out of pocket or use personal biases or aggression or feelings, or if you make a mistake, there's repercussions. And what's been happening a long time in America is cops had the shield and an extra shield to protect them for all the idiotic mistakes that they do. And a lot of their mistakes are just driven by hate or aggression in a certain situation or not handling procedures properly. And their mistakes lead to people losing their lives. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And in a quick side note, man, I finally seen the camera footage of George Floyd. Like in the beginning when he was coming, you seen that too? The body cam when he came out, and to see the fear of George Floyd and him saying, "Hey, listen, I've been shot before by one of you cops before. Like, I just lost my mom," and he was fearful and scared. So, sorry to go off subject. I just is in my head, but the Connecticut thing, I'm glad that they did that. Connecticut, as a state, is one of the richest states in the country to live in, poll-wise, economic-wise, and like I said, I'm just glad that they enforced that. And just knowing that the cops are held accountable just like a regular civilian with a 9-to-5 job. If you make a mistake, it can come out your salary, it can come out your pay, you can be suspended, you can be fired, you know? There can be an investigation. So I hope a lot of states adopt that mechanism in those policies. I know there's a lot of pushback, and I know that was one of the big things between the Democrats and Republicans about the immunity aspect of it. So hopefully it's a trend that continues all over the place. But, you know, I know a cop personally, and when that was being discussed in the state of Massachusetts, trust me, it was something that a lot of cops are like, if that pulls up, I'm finding me another job. You know what I mean? And even that mindset to me is crazy, but I get it. You know what I mean? You could lose your livelihood over that. You know what I mean? And states are going to hold police officers more accountable if you're on some nonsense type shit. You know what I mean?
So, Doc, hold on, Doc. Before you go, let me just read off everything that happened in that bill, just so you can react to it. So, the main thing was the police bill of rights. Also, they said that they decertify officers who don't cut the mustard. They're gonna require body cams for all officers. All police officers will be required to receive a mental health assessment by a licensed psychiatrist once every 5 years. They have more training to remove implicit bias, restrictions on collective bargaining agreements for state police. Now, a narrower definition for justified use of deadly force, duty to intervene when they see one cop committing an act of brutality, the creation of civilian review boards, social workers, consent to searches during traffic stops, increased penalties for falsely reporting incidents, annual use of force reports, and the banishment of military equipment.
No, I mean, I agree with everything like what Zim said, and it's accountability. I think it's time to hold them accountable. And I was listening to something on the Breakfast Club this morning, and it was just like, what's it called? A social worker needs all these degrees and to do their job, to be equipped to deal with people in their field. But you got police officers that have guns and they don't need any type of training. So I definitely think it's a step forward in the right direction. Just to reiterate it, accountability. Like if going into something that you might have to deal with a little something, or something may be taken away from you. If you do act in a certain type of way, you're less likely to do it. And like we said numerous times on this podcast, we're never gonna I don't think racism will ever end. I don't think certain mindsets will ever change. But if you up certain consequences for some of these racist, prejudice acts, it'll make a big difference and it'll go a long way. So that's how I feel about that.
Nah, man. That's a funny fact, man. I just like the fact that now, certain states are moving towards holding the police accountable. Because one thing is, unfortunately, the way that our society is built up, we do need police officers. When we say defund the police, we're not trying to abolish police. We want to defund them and put the resources elsewhere. But we don't want to completely get rid of the police. However, I will be driving through Connecticut a little bit more comfortable knowing that the police have a new set of guidelines that they need to follow. So let's to our next topic. The past however many years we've been saying it, but it really came into focus the past couple weeks. How woke is too woke? I feel like social media, we're getting to a point where it's like, I don't even know like what people really want. When I seen people coming after Beyonce for Black is King, I seen people criticizing Moesha, the TV show. And then to top it all off, there's an internet show that I watch all the time, and they were talking about misogyny in hip hop. And yes, I do agree that misogyny does take place in hip hop, but I'm the type of person where if I don't like something, or if I watch a TV show and they're talking bad about Black people or about Jewish people, I just choose not to watch the show. So, how woke is too woke? Where are we going? Where will it ever end?
I agree, and I know Zeem's gonna love this topic because, he always gets on the Black Twitter thing, and the Beyonce thing. I think kind of what I had saw and read was they were upset that, I guess, they wanted to almost say that she was kind of being a culture vulture and they're taking advantage of the African community, but it's like Beyonce took it upon herself with her platform to put that body of work out. And by doing so, she's bringing light to certain African cultures. And also there were numerous African, designers that were put on a bigger spotlight and platform. It's on Disney Plus. That's one of the biggest platforms in the world for people to watch, stream certain things. So I think she's creating opportunities for people. I think she's making lanes for people to see the other designers that are out there instead of the designers that we're typically been used to for so long. And as far as the Moesha thing, it's kind of like you said, Josh, it's damn, what do you want? That's just how we grew up in the Black community. We made jokes. There was fat jokes, there was your mama jokes, there was all kind of jokes. But the thing about Moesha that why you can't try to change it or you can't try to come at it was because, and I'm always a fan of this, it was a Black community, it was a single dad that met somebody, the stepmom, and the guy's growing up his two children. He's working hard every day. He's trying to push Moesha to go to college, become something of herself, maintaining a household. So it's you took that little portion out of the show where Moesha may have made a joke about Countess Vaughn or I forget the aunt's name, Kim. So it's just stop critiquing certain stuff and look at the bigger message behind it. I'm sure in a lot of white shows, there's always the fat kid or the fat guy or what was the actor? I haven't seen her much, but she was a white woman, kind of bigger. And she
Roseanne.
What's her name?
Roseanne?
It's not Roseanne. So Roseanne, but there's another one after that. She had I forget her movie, but she was up and coming a few years ago. She hasn't made much, but she made her career off for making fun of the fact that she was a heavy set woman. So it's pick your poison.
Yes. Hey, Doc, I appreciate you taking that take. You came a long way. And I think this is what I always just, I don't know, because I just feel we came so far as African Americans and the things that we were able to do and prosper. And, we had the Cosbys, we had the Family Matters, we had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, we had Martin, we had all these different dynamics that showed, the comedy sides of these different cultures that happen in the African community. And what happening now is just, I get it. Identify if it's wrong is wrong. Wrong is wrong, right is right. But to go to let's cancel this, let's do this. I thought the best thing, and you almost read off my notes, is Beyonce put, everybody who worked on Black is King was African American, right? So she created jobs and opportunity. And it's getting to the point where if you're not down with the trend, if you're not down with the train, you end up slicing and dicing something that is benefiting us as a culture. So yeah, they cracked, you know, I forget her character's name in Moesha, but that was a
Kim.
niche. Kim, yo, that was a niche. That was a comedy relief within that show that Dot made a great point. To go to college, to, you know, go to a 2-year, almost like a CCRI type situation. And I'm all for supporting these different groups and these disabilities and different mindsets and ideas. But when you're going at it in the sense of, look how terrible this is, don't view it, don't watch it, be critical, be negative, that's when I draw a back to it. And, you know, I know you guys hate how he articulates himself, but I think that's what Meek Mill allegedly tried to do with B. Simone in that whole book without really even knowing about the whole plagiarism, which is definitely wrong. But his mindset's like, yo, listen, we already have to deal with white America killing us and viewing us in a negative way. Why do we have to contribute it our own? You may see it, may know it, and know it is not right, but don't go on a platform to condemn it because we're already dealing with a large segment of the population already denouncing what we try to do and how we do it. And I think that's always my feeling with, you know, Black Twitter and the trending topic, because the trending topic usually is a negative situation. And I'm like, Beyonce just did something beautiful for our culture. I don't care if she's really not in the grassroots of Nigeria and Ghana, whatever the case may be. She brought light to it. She let somebody who did not know what this culture looks like. And me personally, I'm fed up with it. I'm sick and tired of it. I can't contribute to it. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You can acknowledge it, but don't go out your way to try to influence others to denounce it. And sometimes woke is being too woke in the sense of, at the end game, who are you really hurting with this negative message that you're putting out there, Jiggy? And I hope you kind of see and understand where I'm coming from. I hope I'm articulating myself correctly with my feelings on that.
You are. I just feel like it's just like, I don't know. And even like the Beyonce thing, like even how I knew it was like so organic is because like a dude I know from like, you know, my hometown, I'll screenshot the picture to the group chat later after this, but he has a daughter that's like not even 2. And he was in the video, like that's the baby Beyonce's holding. So it's like she's trying to like, you know, do something. So it's like, why you like, what are you trying to do? Like, how are you gonna tell somebody else how to run their own like, you know, platform or their own movie, their own show? And I just think sometimes with Twitter, or I think sometimes with social media in itself, like it's so easy to like get famous now and or to go viral. So I think people are like using that opportunity to like nitpick certain topics of like a situation and to blow it up. And because if you notice, Josh, you see Twitter after every tweet that goes viral, it was just, wow, didn't expect this tweet to do this good. Follow me on IG or support my new book or whatever they want to like, you know, support, whatever they want to promote. So it's like, I get it, but sometimes like, you know, you try to make a point, you just end up like, you know, looking foolish.
Yeah, so the thing that kind of sparked it all was that woman No Name that was, you know, that her and J. Cole was kind of going at it maybe like a month ago. We love an African aesthetic draped in capitalism. Hope we remember the Black folks on the continent whose daily lives are impacted by U.S. imperialism. If we uplift the imagery, I hope we can uplift those who will never be able to access it. Black liberation is a global struggle. And so, like, I understand the point that she's trying to make. I think she's wrong because it's one thing to like, you know, to colonize. I mean, to to like colonize. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Colonize a place or a country or a continent, and it's another thing too to like try to like, you know, rob the place of all its natural resources. But I don't think that Beyonce was doing anything with any malicious intent, and I don't think that what she did really hurt anybody. You know what I'm saying? All I, you know, from what I haven't watched it in full yet because, you know what I'm saying, I was away. But from what I saw, it looked pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, bro, it's just the whole album. Sorry to cut you off, but it's the whole album, but it's just music videos.
Music video, yeah.
It is. And she's putting like artists on there on the tape that you've never seen or heard of before, like for the most part, on like a national level, and they're in the videos and they're like acting out certain stuff, they're performing. So yeah.
And just like, just in my experience, there's always been so much animosity towards, between between African Americans and Africans. You know what I'm saying? I thought we was getting past a point where if you're talking about everyone, that it's a global struggle for Black people. It's dope to see somebody like Beyonce, who doesn't have to do something like this and is super up, super rich, famous beyond, fame, beyond wildest dreams. It's dope to see her go back to Africa and do something like this. So I understand what the beef was about. But yeah, I just think that we're reaching a point that I think it's good to be conscious. I think it's good to be aware. I think it's good to call out BS. But at a certain point, it's like, what are we trying to create?
And even with that even being said, it's just like these woke people, and not to that no name girl, the old J. Cole, because I'm sure she's an activist and does a lot. But I'm just talking like regional, just local. Beyonce won philanthropist awards for donating so much money. I don't care if it's a tax write-off, whatever you want to look at it. Regardless, she's putting her money where her mouth is and resources to these different facilities and all these people who build a well in Africa and stuff like that. So the people that's so woke, that's trying to be negative with it to get the likes and the retweets, I know 60, 70% of them are not putting the money where their mouth is and not helping out the community. They're not helping these places that they're so worried about. When I know, I remember when Akon was doing this whole, wants to fix lights, the lights, wherever country he was doing, people was criticizing him, like, oh, look at this plan, oh, look at this, oh, his money. I'm like, the guy is building lights for a whole country and was still criticizing. And I just hate, to me, that's not black on black crime, but that's just tearing each other down. And we already have so many struggles to deal with regardless. We can't be doing that to ourselves within our own community. So that's my biggest thing. Like, I respect the fact that you're woke, you're educating yourself, you're doing your research, but to what ends? To what means? Who are you trying to hurt here? Do you know that this is contributing millions of dollars to such and such? You know that there are other races who love Beyonce, who are now enriched in the culture, understands the culture. And I always bring it back to Black Panther and what that did for the African community in Wakanda, and just putting that out there and being one of the best Marvel movies of all times and all the money that it generated. So, be woke, be educated, speak your mind, but just understand to what detriment that you're doing and what cause that you're doing. And that's what I gotta say about that.
I gotta salute Beyonce because I don't think that she did anything wrong. The Akon thing, I understood what people were trying to say, but if he didn't do it, somebody else would have did the same thing, who wasn't Black, who wasn't African. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. So one thing I want to kind of ask you guys, and it'll transition us into our next topic: misogyny in hip hop. So we talk about it all the time in the group chat. Like, we know the music is wrong, but we like it anyway. We're gonna listen to it anyway. We support it anyway. Do you guys feel that that the misogyny has gotten too far, even more so than what it used to be? Is it the same as it always was? And do artists have a responsibility to the community to be able to curtail some of the misogyny in the music?
I mean, it's not like, that's tough because I feel like back then it was kind of wrong because there was a lot of like bitches and hoes and like smacking woman's ass without like asking for permission. That was like the culture. That was like the thing to do, So, and looking at it back then, we viewed it as okay, but it really wasn't. I feel like now society has shifted in a sense where like we have stuff like OnlyFans, showing your bodies like more acceptable to do it online. So I don't in some cases, it's that's just it's the entertainment aspect of it. And I think women and I think society as a whole has like embraced like, you know, that side of it. Like I know before, if you were a stripper, it was something that was kind of like looked down upon, or like you didn't want to make it known like that was your job. You probably like had another job and stripping was on the side to help pay some of the bills. But now it's just like embraced. Like you can, every time you turn on Instagram, you see somebody like naked or twerking. So it's like, what do you really kind of expect? You know what I'm saying? Or listen to like, you know, city girls, like, you know, Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Nicki Minaj. They're embracing that kind of like, you know, lifestyle. Whereas like, you know, back then we was only seeing that from like a Little Kim or a Foxy Brown. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough.
All I know is I think Sean like copied and pasted my notes, man, because he's on point, and I definitely agree. Because you know what this brings me back to? I forget the song. I think it's a Tupac and Dre music video. You guys remember this? You guys probably know the music video. They're playing volleyball, and the dude just runs up,
pulls it,
pulls a top down. We all looked at that dude like, that's lit. Like, we want to be part of that. We got the Me Too movement. And that's my biggest thing is I love that women are more, I get around, yep. Women are, they're taking a hold of what they want to put out there. So when we say hot girl summer, when we see girls like, nope, yep, I'm taking a trip, yep, I'm taking your credit card, yep, I'm maxing this out, yep, we're gonna take these trips. Oh, you want some of this? Buy me a bag. Like, I love it. You know what I mean? You know, financially, make these financial gains for yourself and your family and what you gotta do. OnlyFans, I crack on it all the time, but at the end of the day, hey, if these girls want to do that and they're gonna have these guys willing to pay, do it. And music-wise, I look at these music as artists. They have creative control. They speak about what they want to speak about. Just like how we do with TV. You don't like this show? Switch it to another channel. You don't like this song? Switch it to another song. If you don't feel like your kids shouldn't be listening to it, censor their YouTube and their music videos and what they listen to. But at the end of the day, as a parent, you have a responsibility to filter what your child is listening to, and even as adults. And that's why I agree it is getting egregious, and shake that ass or bend over, or I don't even want the punani, just give me top. Like, these are just lingo, trendy, rhythmic type songs, but the intent of it is not like, oh, to denigrate women or whatever the case may be, just a play on words. And I don't take these artists seriously in the sense of this is how I'm going to live my daily life. I take it for what it is. And this is what I want them to start doing moving forward. So it is a problem. I'm going to acknowledge it, but you can control what is a problem within your life and your community. And that's how I just view it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that I like a lot of the points you guys made. I'll say this. In the era that we live in now, whereas when we were growing up, you more so just like whatever you seen on BET, whatever you seen on, whatever you heard on the radio was kind of like what you would go out and buy. Now with the streaming platforms, there's so much music to choose from. And to be honest with you, if you look at who the top 5 or 6 rappers are in the game, you got Drake, Kendrick, Cole, Travis, and whoever you want to throw in there. Nobody in there is a violent rapper. Nobody in there is really like OD with crazy raunchy lyrics. So I don't know, but what I will say is that the only thing that I will agree with is that a lot of women who don't rap like OD sexual don't get a chance. Whereas back in the day, there was a little bit more balance in the rap game as far as like women. You know, for every Little Kim, you had a Lauryn Hill. You know what I'm saying? For every Foxy Brown, there was like a Eve. You know what I'm saying? So it was a little bit that's what I think is a little bit of a difference. So I like to see some of these women who don't rap OD raunchy maybe get a shot.
So I think the thing is like oh man, this is gonna come off wrong again, but I gotta say it. So the thing is, like, I feel like You're definitely right. Like, it's not like now. It's like it's not a lot of Eves, not a lot of Lauryn Hills. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of even Rod Digger. You know what I'm saying?
Queen Latifah, so many.
Yeah, but I feel like even though Rhapsody is very talented, her lane in what she chooses to rap about just isn't gonna like appeal to like, you know, a platform like let's say like a Cardi B has, or like, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like there hasn't been a rapper yet that can kind of do both, like a Eve for say, where it's like, all right, I can be sexy, but at the same time I could rap, have some substance to my rap. It's not all gonna be about like, you know, fuck niggas and I'm gonna shake my ass and max your credit card out. But
And we gotta keep it real too. At the end of the day, sex sells, negativity sells, in movies, violence sells. It's just the way of the world. And shout out to Eve, because I can't remember the name of the song either. But remember, she had a hit song talking about abusive relationships. You know what I'm
Love
saying?
is Blind.
Love
Love is Blind, yeah. And that went viral to a whole
Banger.
another level. That was a banger. So there's pockets, there's room for it. But you just gotta pick your lane and be comfortable in that lane.
Yeah.
We can't denounce, we can't, you know, because I have no issue with the city girls. I actually love what they do. Oh, you guys want to talk about this? Let's talk about that. And you remember when JD came out a couple of months ago, maybe sometime last year, about, oh, it's stripper music now. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, someone called him out like, whoa, look at all the songs that you used to produce. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's okay for a man to say it. Now with a woman saying it and embracing it.
Well, in fairness to Jermaine Dupri, his artist, the Brat, was more along the line of like an Eve.
Yeah, but then she stretch where she transitioned where I was like,
right,
the Brat looked like that. So
yeah.
So it's
she
like
came out with the bathing suits too, yeah, showing the ass.
So that. I think you're right in the sense that now, like, it's like if you're not like Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Sweetie, Nicki Minaj, it's gonna be kind of tough to get mainstream. But they control their own lane. If Nicki Minaj or Cardi B or Meg Thee Stallion, they gotta go that route for it to change.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think the person that really dropped the ball was Nicki. Once she got on and like because she's like older than I am, and like to still be rapping about the same thing that you was when you first came out. You know, it was Nicki Lewinsky, this and the third. Like that's cool to get on, but you know, I think she's the one that could. You know, if she would have elevated her material, her fan base might have like stayed with her more so.
But that's not her responsibility, and I think that's what we're doing. We're putting, like, for an example, Nicki Minaj. That's not her responsibility to. Don't get me wrong, Josh. I get what you're saying, but I'm not going to condemn her because she didn't want to go that route. Just because she's the most successful, that doesn't mean she got to be the leader of this type of, you know, whatever type of raps you're trying to say she should be rapping about. That makes sense.
What I'm saying is that not saying that like, oh, you're a bad person, you're still rapping about, you know, sex when you're like 39 and old. But what I'm saying is the reason why a lot of other female artists have like come in and her market share of that lane has gotten much smaller is because like other rap legends, you haven't elevated, you know, your material hasn't elevated past the point when you first came out. So that's, you know, so part of her downfall in the music biz is because she didn't elevate her material as she progressed. Because who wants to hear like, yo, like she should be talking boss talk. Like, yo, I want to hear Jay-Z rap about the same things he rapped about in '96. It doesn't even make sense. It's not believable.
And that's a good point, Josh. So like I'm gonna agree with Zim and say it's not her responsibility, which is correct. It's not your responsibility. If that's your lane and you figure and that's how you make your bread, go for it 100%. But where I think it kind of hurts you a little bit is when you don't switch it up and show people that you could take it to that next level. You give people like a Cardi B or Meg Thee Stallion the opportunity to come follow your blueprint and then surpass you. So that's kind of the negative side of like, you know, not being able to be versatile in that sense. Like Jay-Z, like he rapped about drugs, he rapped about whatever the life he lived, money, cars, anything you want to talk about. But then what kind of separated him was when he got into that mind state, like polos with the S. Doc Carters and jeans and, like, you know, chancletas. When he started talking about, I'm gonna level up on you and money, and I have so much more money than you, I'm so much better business wise than you. That's what kind of really separated him from every rapper out there. So I don't know, a female artist, for it to change, someone's got to take that step. So I honestly can't see Cardi B doing it. Meg Thee Stallion, I feel like she's talented, but she already set the precedent that her, like, drunk and shaking her ass. So
well, she got the opportunity now. If you think about it, like everything that she's been going through, now she got something to really rap about. Like, you know,
we'll see Friday.
Yeah.
Friday, I'm assuming that track with Cardi B is gonna be some ratchet. It's gonna do numbers. It's gonna be on the billboards. And once again, I don't think it's Meg Thee Stallion's responsibility to be like, oh, let me put a domestic violence type track out. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want to put all these responsibilities on artists on what we think is right and wrong and what should be out there. You, as an artist, you have
I agree with you. What I'm saying is that for you to last a long time, you kind of have to change the subject matter of it. I mean, we was having a conversation to switch it to male rappers, and we're going to talk about the biggest male rapper in a second. A lot of these artists that we talked about, like, are they going to have a 20 for verses? You know what I'm saying? A lot of them aren't, because they aren't going to, because they aren't going to be able to stay, you know, to stay relevant for 10, 12 years, because, you know, the Migos, we love them for the trap records, for the party records, but now there's people coming up behind you who are younger, fresher, and making that same kind of music, and you're going to lose your market share.
All right, but I think we're going away from the original topic at hand. You know what I'm trying to say? At the end of the day, you have to cater to the crowd, to your fan base, and what they expect from you. Because I think we have to go to the skill set. Jay-Z had the skill set. Nas has the skill set. Kendrick has the skill set. Drake has the skill set. Nicki Minaj, I believe, has the skill set. But it's the want to do that. And a lot of these artists, not saying that they don't want to, they just don't feel the need to do it. Because why? We're still tracking number one. We're still getting, you know, these streams and these views. And, you know, I get more likes and comments on when I show this bikini rather than, I don't know. Like,
I get that, Zine. I get that. Yeah. But, like, you got to, I get that. But I feel like in, like, the political, or, like, if we're just kind of just saying it, thing out there is like, all right, it's not my responsibility. But my thing is, when you're a leader in anything, whether it's sports, athletics, your place of work, that kind of is your, like, Jay-Z had to take
great power comes with great responsibility. Like,
Jay-Z had to take that responsibility if he wanted to call himself one of the best male rappers of all time, to move the game in a certain way. LeBron James, if he wants to call himself the greatest basketball player, or one of the best basketball players, he has to do something very different from everybody else to move the game forward, whether if it's playing basketball or off the court. So if we're going to talk, like, as far as the topic of, like, you know, obviously for this to come up, there were women that had an issue with it. Like, women to this day in the industry say they don't feel like they're treated properly, and it's all about, you got to do this to get on. There has to be a woman at some point that kind of does something in rap that takes it a step forward. Or is just the norm the only way that you're gonna be successful is?
So, Sean, I hear you though. I hear you though, but that artist is gonna come out. They're gonna have great messaging. It's gonna be something that's positive, and it's not going to do the significant numbers that we expect it should do. And then we're gonna criticize them when they're not at this particular level, because at the end of the day, we're saying all these things, but what do we do in the group chat? Damn, look how much they sold. Look how much they generated. Look at their fan base compared to this person's fan. Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like, there's a reason why these trends happen.
So why you think Lauryn Hill was able to sell the way she sold?
Who?
Why you think Lauryn Hill was able to sell the way she sold?
Because she did that message and had the skill set and artistic creativity to do it at an elite level, and that's why she was able to excel.
All right,
That
so
means like
hold, wait. So let me ask you this, right? So we looking at you looking at the guys that can come out. If you look at the men that can come out right now and sell 400, 500,000 first week, you got J. Cole, you got Kendrick, Drake, and Travis. So like their message isn't like anything like OD violent or aggressive. And Drake is a storyteller, and Kendrick and Cole are two of the more positive rappers in history, and they're able to sell out. And so my thing is like, yes, we're gonna judge them by their sales, but if you think about it, Nicki Minaj did that song with Doja Cat. She did that song with 6ix9ine, and them songs like they pop real quick and then they're gone. So what I'm saying is that if Nicki with her talent and the connections and the money she has and the in the relationship, if she was to put something out, it doesn't have to be like fist in the air, positive all women, but something just more balanced. I think that it would do a more substantial number than the quick number one that now nobody listens to and no one cares about.
I know I can't say that you're wrong.
Yep.
Like we keep doing male artists, you're gonna have to find me a pocket of, I know you're using Nicki Minaj as the pinnacle of she's able to do it, but there's not too many under that I can say.
Okay.
Like we have a Rhapsody. She is revered as one of the best lyricists, male or female.
Yep.
But her messaging, unfortunately, is going upon deaf ears because a certain type of sound and messaging resonate with success. And I think as a woman, they find themselves falling. Yep.
Hold on, listen, right? So we can say like, Little Kim came out and sold 2 million records, but then you look at what Lauryn Hill did going diamond. You know what I'm saying? Because there's only but so far you can go with that hypersexual content, because it's not like you know what I'm saying? Like it'll stream because kids are streaming, but talking about like radio play and being able to play it amongst all different generations and like ages, it's not as appealing as like what a Lauryn Hill could make. If that, like, you know what I'm saying? If you want to compare a Lauryn Hill to a little Kim, that's all I'm saying. But I'm gonna move us forward. Hold up, and we're gonna talk about somebody near and dear to all of our hearts, Drizzy Drake. You know what I'm saying? The boy, Mondem, whatever you want to say.
Mondem.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want to say nowadays, man. So there's been a big discussion that as Drake puts out his next release, he will be a free agent. He will be able to sign with whatever record label he wants to sign with. He'll be able to re-sign with his current record label, which is Universal. Or there's been chatter that he could possibly go independent. What are your thoughts? What do you guys think it'll mean for the rap game?
Definitely like Drake. So first off, I think he needed the record label to become obviously who he is today. So I'm not gonna say he could have had the success independently, but Drizzy is the most powerful rapper right now in the game, probably in like the music business, one of the more powerful people. So I feel like this next move is just, I kind of want to see him take that Jay-Z step, like become a president at a record label, or like if he doesn't have full control to like, get a Master P deal where he's probably getting 80% to himself and then they're getting 20% just to kind of make sure the album gets pushed. I want to see him go independent, make the most money he can. Because that man is, I don't know, he's different, man. Y'all like to hate on him, say he got writers in the tent, but he's different. I've never seen nobody like Drizzy before.
I just think if I'm Drake, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? And especially when he would always have the Joker in any situation, just using a card analogy, in any record label deal and negotiation deal. And I feel like he'll always have the creative control. I feel like he will always have the upper hand on a label. I think they will conform to any of his ideas. So to go independent, to me, there's a lot of responsibilities where I feel like he's not educated on. Obviously, he can hire the people that can know the nuances in and out of how to do what a record label does for him and not do for him. I am just a firm believer in if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And right now, he is excelling even outside of the music industry in the endorsements and the money that he's making. Of why would he need that added pressure? One thing I can say about Drake is I'm not saying he has a bad eye for talent. I just feel that he's so, it's almost like the Michael Jordan effect. Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time, but he gets criticized because he is terrible at eye and talent. And to be independent, I feel like that will hinder his creative bubble that he's been living in for the last decade of just worrying about putting out great music and getting the right people around him. This label thing, why a lot of people, in my opinion, go the independent route but don't succeed at it, is because they're worrying about all other things and not fail, but don't put enough effort at what's really important, and that's the quality of the music. So as long as he can get his papers right and his ducks in a row, Drake really has the flexibility to do whatever he wants and what he wants. But unless he is acknowledging, like, you know what, I am going to take a hiatus and just focus on making sure I get my X's and O's right in the sense of contracts and this and that and marketing and publishing and getting his hands into a lot of things that he's not accustomed to doing. I'm not saying Drake will still do his numbers, but I'm not sure the quality of music will be the same. The reason why we love Drake and I respect him, his Lucy's go hand, his features go hand, because he's able to just focus on music. And the reason why I feel like OVO has not been a success as how we think it should be, with the Majid Jordan, with Party Next Door, with what's his light-skinned friend name? I kind of like him rapping, but whatever. Not Chubbs, his other man that he put on to try to make a rap. The reason why they're not as successful, because I feel like Drake doesn't really invest and pump an artist as he should. So I'm just using what he has done already as a CEO and that lack of success, where he is just focusing on just the music. So I don't think the independent route is the way he should go. But if he did go, he'll be successful. But I just think it'll be a drop in the quality of music. And that's just my opinion on Drizzy Drake.
So I'm of two minds of it. So the thing about being independent is that, like, it's become like trendy, like, oh, you know, I'm independent. I don't rock with record labels, blah, 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 blah. Chance, you know, talked about that a lot. But as you can see, like, you can see where Chance's career kind of went because he didn't have that record label help. I think that Zine brought up a good point that Drake is just focused on the music. Like, if we look at a lot of our other big rappers, you know, who we grew up on, a lot of them try to get focused more so on like having their own record label, trying to get other artists on. And if you look at like a 50 Cent, so 50 Cent was like white hot, like, you know, going diamond, this, that, and the third, but he used a lot of his like energy and steam to put on Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, Young Buck, whoever else, MOP, Mobb Deep was on the label. He was trying to get Olivia on. He was trying to put Mace on. So, like, people got sick and tired of seeing him. Like, oh, my God, like, 50 Cent again? Like, all right, bro. So I think what Drake has done brilliantly is that he's kept the focus on himself. And so whereas Jay-Z's like, well, I'm only getting 100,000, 150,000 a show at that time. So he's like, let me focus on, make sure I'm getting publishing and making money off these other artists. Whereas Drake knows, yo, I'm not getting out of bed for nothing less than 1.5 million a show, 2 million a show. So he's getting that money, but just in a much different way than Jay-Z was. And Drake's brand is tied to great music. We love Drake because of great music. Like, he's not the coolest guy, like, he's not the best dressed, like, you know what I'm saying? But his music is just so good that we get so excited, like, yo, Drake is dropping, because we know it's gonna be high level, high quality, put together music. Whereas like a lot of like Jay-Z's popularity came from like, yo, I own my own record label. Like, I'm a businessman. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got clothing. I got this. I got that. I got this. I got that. Whereas Drake is solely focused on, like, the music. Even in his endorsement deal, he's not trying to own the company so much as he's like, yo, like, let me sign for a couple $100 million with Nike and get that bag. So that's where he's making a lot of his money. And so I think that Drake should have the freedom to do whatever he wants to do. Like, he's reached that level since 2009, 10. He's been, like, putting out crazy platinum hits, album, hit after hit after hit, feature after feature, where if he went independent, I think it'd work. I think if he stayed in the label situation, he'll keep right on rolling. So that's my kind of opinion of it.
And I'm glad you brought up 50 Cent, because 50 Cent gave up a lot of his biggest hits to the game, to Lloyd Banks, to Tony Yayo. And those are supposed to be his songs that he gave to his friends. And with Jay-Z took like a 2-3 hiatus to get everything situated with Dame Dash and Biggs and that whole situation. And he left the game for a little while to establish that. I can't see Drake doing that for a year or two, because it's a lot of work to go in it. And if you have a machine behind you and that machine's supporting you and willing to do it, knowing that they're going to reap the benefits of it, why change that? What's independent to do what? Just to say you're independent? Yep.
And before you jump in, Doc, because I know you're chomping at the bit, like the Jay-Z or Nas or DMX or Nelly or 50 Cent or whoever, back in the day when you released the album, you had to do a lot leading up to it, a lot of marketing, radio, press, videos. Now Drake can just put music out, maybe make one video, maybe make two, do one interview with Apple Music, and he's like, yo, I'm good. Because he's at that level and the game is completely different.
Yeah, I think that he's at the level, like, we're overanalyzing it too much. He's at the level where he's so successful. Like, anything that man does is he's going to put if he goes the independent route, he's going to put the right people in place. That's how you, like, I think he's smart enough and he has enough money now to know, if I want to do this, I need to do X, Y, and Z to hire this for that, hire this for that. He's only going to, let's say if first week he sells 700,000. Let's say he even goes independent, that takes him down to 400,000. That's still more money, depending on what he negotiated with his record label. That's still more money in his pocket. I can't ever foresee Drake now or like within the next 2 years selling only 100,000. It's just not going to happen right now. So either way, it's like a win-win. On my thing, I could see that too with the record label. Like, you have a machine behind you, they're going to handle everything. Why would you want that extra added work? But it's also Drake, and I would also like to see, like, from his standpoint, like, I don't know if you got to see it on DVR yet, but the Master P, he was like one of the few artists at that time that had, like, you know, he owned everything. He came in there, he was like, 80% is going to go to me, and then the 20% is going to go to you guys, just to make sure basically that the album's in stores and it's out there getting sold. So I would like to see, if not already, him move kind of towards that kind of situation if he has to deal with a label.
Yo, I was gonna bring that up too. Like, how does, like, you know, looking at that, and then me just knowing stuff, like, I know that, like, certain artists negotiate better deals. So when Master P did that, he actually opened a lane for Cash Money, and Cash Money got a great distribution deal as well. But the only difference between Cash Money and Master P was Cash Money got like $100 million up front because of the success of Master P and how he was able to just, you know, keep it going like a machine for 2 years. So yes, I would actually like to see Drake move to that 80-20 route. Like, yo, you guys handle all the distribution with whatever we got to do with streaming and CDs and vinyls and all that other shit, and I'm gonna just handle the music because I don't need help doing it.
Yeah, but it's gonna be tough for Drake because he likes to steal other people's music and sound. So
what did Jay-Z do what did Jay-Z basically do? He used those Philly cats to help.
Oh, here we go.
What he was talking about, keep him competitive.
I don't know. Drake is on it. Oh, I like that song. I need that. And as a record label, even independent, to get it out to the masses, even with his reference tracks, oh, I'm gonna sound better myself singing that than this so-and-so artist that I'm trying to put on. And it's just been relevant and evidence of it for the last 2 to 3 years. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So we just have to.
Zine, listen, right? So I do agree with you that Drake does get help, but you have to understand is though Drake is not like when you talk about like a Jay-Z, he's making like 15 songs a year back in the day. Drake is putting out like album after album after album after album. So Drake right now is almost not even like an artist. He's like this like thing that like if you can attach yourself to Drake. So if I'm a songwriter, I could put this out and maybe sell 50, 60,000 first week. But I know that if I like give the song to Drake and he might go platinum, double platinum, triple platinum. Like, yo, I'll give you a perfect example, right? So you guys obviously know the group Division, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the guy who makes the beats for Division is the guy that made the beat for God's Plan. So God's Plan is like diamond, and Division comes out, makes a great album, and sells like 50,000 first week. Whereas now he's getting the publishing and royalties from God's Plan, and he has that relationship with Drake. So now Drake have put Division on, by jumping on some of their songs. So now you have a career where you can tour the country in smaller venues and make 30,000 a night, 40,000 a night, and you have that bag coming from writing or producing for an artist of that magnitude. So it's kind of a quid pro quo. But Drake's model is a little bit different, where Jay-Z wanted to help his artists, where Drake was like, yo, I'm gonna be strategic and jump on certain tracks with certain artists. It's gonna help me and it's gonna help them.
Yeah, but honestly, it has hindered his artists that he had signed. So I get what you're saying in the sense of the cash in the pocket and what they can receive down the line and the forever money. But at the end of the day, these artists, they're artists, they have creative. They want to be known. They want to have that shine. They want to be recognized. And sometimes every dollar is not a good dollar, especially if you're an artist. And, what I know about a painter is they want their credit. That's why they sign the bottom of their portraits. You know what I'm saying? So just because you sign in, it's in the back of a CD and writing credits, it's just not the same vibe and the feelings. And we have seen artists from that OVO camp come out with huge gripe and quote unquote trying to expose Drake by in the sense of I didn't get enough credit or I didn't get enough residuals. And I just feel like, at this point, Drake is kind of past that. You know what I mean? Like, just be an artist and have that OVO brand, which he does. It is obviously well respected globally, but I just don't. I don't want Drake. To me, I'm sorry. Because I don't want to discredit Drake or sound like I'm coming across that. I just want him to focus on himself and music. CEO and record label is not for everybody. And right now, where Drake at in his career, he's still sizzling and just continue sizzling. When you hit your, upper 30s and 40s, then go that route. I feel like Drake got still another 10-year run in him, if that makes sense. I'm trying to big him up without sounding like I'm dissing him. I just know that a move like that is not right now. He is still A1 premier artist, and there's no reason to me, take away from yourself right now in his prime.
Well, it'll be interesting.
Does that make sense?
It does. It'll be interesting to see what happens after this, next album. But
right, I can't wait to see too.
Party Next Door looks happy to me, and Quentin Miller wishes never told. So,
well, I feel bad for Quentin Miller because he didn't even tell. He got outed.
Yeah.
He was like, damn. I seen an interview with him on Everyday Struggle, and he said, all this was happening to me. He's like, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I didn't do any of this, but it all affected him. So speaking
right, he took the biggest L of that whole beef. He really did.
So in a versus, first of all, a Drake versus Kanye, I think the only verse that makes sense for Drake is Kanye. It's the only one. It's the only matchup that makes any sense.
That would be a good versus. Kanye, I'm a huge Drake fan, but Kanye got a lot of hits that are gonna last years upon years upon years. Like you could go in Graduation, College Dropout. Like it's Yeah, it's tough, man.
And Sean, no dissing, no nothing. Can you name me? All right, can you name me like 5 Drake tracks that age well for you? That like that's my thing with Drake and his music. It bubbles right then in that moment. But to me, started from the bottom. Now we here. That came in where like he doesn't have no signature classic besides his first mixtape.
Best I
So
ever
Far
had.
Gone.
Yeah, best I ever had. That's gonna.
Yep, that's on the So Far Gone mixtape. Yep.
Houston, Atlanta, Vegas.
Yeah.
So Far Gone mixtape. So Far Gone mixtape. So I'm talking about songs after that really aged and successful well. Because I think of Kanye, you're right.
He makes the theme. The thing is, he makes the theme. He makes the anthem. Like God's Plan. That was the summer anthem. Like the Meek disc. Is that your girl's
right.
tour or world
That's
tour?
what I'm saying. It's hot for that moment. To me, none of his songs age well. That's all I'm trying to say.
I think you get so much. I think it does, but you just get so much music in this generation that you don't have the chance to appreciate it until it's played to you, and you're like, "Oh shit!" I remember that song. That was a hit. But I do think that Kanye would definitely beat Drake. I'll admit that. I think Kanye.
Thank you. And that's what I was leaning towards as well. That's why I had to show my little preference.
Jesus walks.
Like, I am going with
fire. Yeah, he take
right.
He'll
Kanye
take
West. Yeah, Kanye West makes music. First of all, they have a message. They have a meaning. It's impactful. It's spiritual. It's educational. It's religion, and it ages so well where in a 20 for 20, you can look at the stats, the scoreboard, and be like, whoa, Drake sold more, this did this platinum, this did that, because it bubbled like fish grease during that moment. But then I look back at it like, I'm not listening to that in the car. I'm not going to be like, oh, snap, you remember this? Like, that's my biggest gripe, where I will say in a versus 20 for 20, I will pick Kanye over Drake. Besides So Far Gone, I don't know why that mixtape. Like I literally played that 3 years straight.
Hold on. But y'all don't. So all right. So we all agree that we think that Kanye will win because he has the production too. But let me ask you. Y'all don't think Drake's music aged well at all?
No, I think of course Drake's music aged well. This is what Zim do.
I'm just going off my own.
And he forget. And then when he hear, he be like, oh, wow. He start doing no. So you can't really like talk to Zim about this right now because when he hears it, is he gonna change? So, but I just think Kanye has like better music in a certain regards that is gonna like hit.
Off of the culture, you think?
People different, yeah. I think it's just so different. Like he like before he went crazy, like he had like shit in his like he was so talented. He still is talented, but musically, like that's probably like one of the best like to ever do it as far as like having a creative mind and a direction to go with a song. You know what I'm saying? And how to perform the song, even though he didn't write it, he knows how to like perform it. So I think that would be kind of like it's tough for Drake to beat Jesus Walks. It's tough to beat Through the Fire. It's tough to beat like what's the song?
Gold Digger. Dang,
yeah, it's tough to beat
like,
What a Time to Be Alive. Like it's tough to beat that. Like those are just like songs that like are like golden. Like you know what I'm saying? So, but I do think Drake's music is gonna age well. But it's just sometimes it's just some people are just better. That's just what it is.
I think the music for Drake that's really gonna age well for him is gonna be like So Far Gone for me. Like there's a couple joints on it that'll age well. You guys name them both. But then if we look at like Take Care and what was the mixtape? If you're reading this, it's too late. Like those two and Nothing Was the Same to me are gonna be the 3 that really aged. Like Views, yeah. Scorpion, like yeah, cool. But those 3, like Nothing Was the Same. If you're reading this, it's too late. And Take Care is like his goal.
Well, we're just gonna have to agree to disagree. When I think of Drake and where he will really dominate in a versus battle is if he goes 10 songs of his feature verses. Like that's where Drake came on tracks and remixes where he brought certain, like I'm just thinking of the Migos, what is it? Versace. Like those are the tracks that where Drake came on and he shows you this is what elite level looks like. But I don't want to sound disrespectful, it doesn't age well. Just meaning like it didn't have like cultural impact as what Kanye West does. And I'm only doing this versus Kanye West.
But you gotta realize we're from a different era of music. Like our early 2000s rap means a lot more to us than maybe somebody that was like started in the 2010s. So we're gonna always view it different, you know. Yeah. So I don't know the demographic. Like for the most part, it seems like the demographic for like the verses has been like an older crowd. But you never know, with Kanye being attached to the Kardashians and Drake, that verses may bring over 500,000 people of like, you know, a younger generation, because that is kind of more relevant to now. Whereas like, you know, no one born after, I would say, 96 really cares about DMX or Snoop Dogg. You know what I'm saying? So it's, I don't know. It all depends.
I just know with Kanye West, with the production, his verses, like actual constructions of the song, I just feel like they're just gonna hit differently. So I feel like Drake will body Yeezy in just his featured verses. Like I'm thinking like what he did for Travis last year in that song. You know what I'm saying? Those are memorable verses. I know word for word. And obviously I know every Drake track word for word. I'm not gonna say it in front for the American people, you know, the millions of people that's watching this. But I'm just saying that Kanye West in that battle, I think it will be a real good battle. We'll never see it. They'll never sit in a room what versus is trying to turn into, where it's not even a competition no more, just a celebration of music and hip hop, and especially during this quarantine.
But then he's got like the motto, like, you know, hell yeah, fucking right, controller. Like Drake Hotline Bling, like the song with Rihanna, like he got a lot of, I don't back to back. He do that, it's over.
I think that what you said was a really good point, where a lot of that breaks down amongst age. Because at first I was like, yo, Drake versus Jay-Z, like the two legends from the different eras. But then if you think about it, like people our age, probably a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger, are never gonna like take Drake over Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Like in the battle, like, you know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna hear songs like, oh man, like, cause it brings you back to that point in time. Whereas like someone who's 21 is gonna hear like a Jay-Z track, you know, like, you know, they're gonna hear, ain't no nigga, and be like, what is this? Like, I don't this is alright.
But Josh, but not for now, you know what I think? I think a Drake versus Jay-Z kind of hits like a Fab versus Jada, whereas you're going to think Drake's going to do better than what he's really going to do against Jay-Z. When they start breaking out those Jay-Z verses and you appreciate rap, like, damn, he puts words together like that.
Yeah.
I think he might get him. I get what you're saying, but I think it will really depend. Well, versus what I learned, it depends the portion of the song you play. Like, I don't think you could play it where, like, a song where, like, I think we're kind of DMX messed up in the first half of his versus battle. He was playing the beginning of songs where it's like no music going on or it's not him rapping. So then you've already lost the attention. Whereas I think Jada was able to get Fab he was straight boom to whatever his verse was and he played it there. It hopped right into it. So I think in a Jay-Z versus a Drake or Kanye versus Drake, Kanye just has so many slick bars, so many, like, you know, memorable bars that's like it's gonna be tough for Drake. Like, what is Drake really? He makes good music. I love Drake, but what has Drake ever really said before? Like, I could quote to you the whole Jesus Walk. I could quote what's the song with Selena Johnson, the Kanye West song with Stacey. All Falls Down. It's like that. That's like so many, like, you know, life lessons. You know, exactly. Yeah. Drug dealer like, by Jordan, but he can't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was just significant bombs, man.
I get it. I just thought it was interesting because I feel like The Jay-Z Drake thing would be cool, but it would be too generational. Where I think that Kanye spanned enough of the generation, and Drake goes a little bit farther enough back to make it make sense.
Yeah, I think maybe like I think for Jay-Z, if you're not gonna put, I don't think you could put anybody in the new school against Jay-Z. I think it gotta be somebody definitely from his era that kind of
All right,
goes.
quick side note. Quick side note. Can I be honest with y'all, man? And say what you want, Josh. These Lakers, I don't know, man.
They don't look good at all.
Yeah, they don't look good. Like, I'm just not. And I think maybe playoff mode is different. These are just 8 playing games, but like I'm seeing the Jazz do what they want, how they want, when they want it, and I'm just looking at the Lakers pieces.
If AD don't score, don't score, it's over.
I'm not trying to start no beef, but I'm just watching while we're having this wonderful podcast.
And I took them tonight. I'm praying they beat the Jazz.
All right, so here's my thing about the Lakers. I think that the Lakers are the best defensive team in the bubble, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because we've been watching all these games, and it's been up and down, and up and down, and up and down, and up and down, and high-scoring games. All the Lakers games been kind of low scoring. So I'm not too worried about it, and I don't think that unless he just fell off a cliff in these 4 months, I think that when LeBron turns it on in playoff mode,
He told me championship mode on IG, and the marathon starts, and he just let it down, man.
That's marketing, man. He
37% from the. Like, can you beat the Jazz tonight, please, LeBron? Like, I don't.
But I feel like we're one of the only teams. Us and the Bucks are probably the only teams that have like no pressure to play for seeding. Whereas, I didn't realize how close OKC, Houston, Utah, Denver. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't realize how close they all were because it's been so long. So I'm not too worried. If we start the playoffs, whoever we play in the first round, and we're looking sluggish, I'd be like, all right, now we got issues. But I just think that the Lakers we want the playoffs now, and that could be a problem. But we want the playoffs now. Like.
I'm sorry to go off topic like that, but I'm just watching like something like it's back and forth, knitting, talking. The fourth quarter is where it all matters. But I'm just noticing like when the Clippers step on your throat, they step on your throat. There's no going back. And you're right, the Lakers only got to win 1 game. They sail up the number 1 seed. And if I'm LeBron James, I would even play the last 4 or 5 games for what? Maybe just 20, 24 minutes, but. I don't know. But yeah, next subject. My fault. I just had to bring that up real quick.
Well, actually, the next subject was the NBA is back. How appropriate.
All right, so I'll say this. First of all, I gotta let America know I am done with Josh and Sean with their Houston Rockets and Russell Westbrook slander moving forward. I just want to know that. Oh yeah, you're right. Sean. Sorry. I just want to let you know that it's unfortunate because I do believe in my heart of hearts they are going out in the second round because the Clippers and Lakers are just better, more deeper, more polished. But I'll leave that at that. I'm so proud of my Spurs right now. Losing LaMarcus Aldridge was a blessing in disguise. We're running and gunning. We are struggling to the 76ers tonight, which, we still got the fourth quarter to come up. But I just want to give Adam Silver once again a lot of credit for putting this together. Regardless of what we're seeing and how we're viewing it, it's amazing. It's truly amazing. They thought this through. They executed. The intensity of these games is superb. And what I love what they did, they almost did like what the NFL does by putting the division games first, few 4 games, and then the last 4 games to get that intensity up, to make sure that these games are meaningful. And these 8 seeding games, to me, I know I missed it for a long time, but the quality of play has been amazing. Yes, defensively, it hasn't been up to par, but the execution, the defense, the drama, the down to the wires, a couple of overtime games, I'm just very proud of the NBA and what they have done. And I hope no one messes it up in the sense of messing up the bubble like Sweet Lou Wings, you know what I'm saying? And just do anything stupid of that nature. But I am so excited. playoff starts on my birthday, August 17th. You know, we got to find somewhere to go so we can all watch the playoffs together, celebrate my birthday, Leo season. But I'm just happy what it's done for the group chats, for social media, for IG, the highlight clips again, Sports Center, debate talk. I'm just in awe and appreciative of what they can do during these terrible, terrible times of COVID.
You know, I'm excited the NBA's back. I think shout out Adam Silver, Chris Paul. I think everybody's saying Adam Silver, but they're not realizing the work that Chris Paul put in to like NBA get back. And I think this is like it's been better and more competitive because they've left. Like obviously the Wizards is not at full strength and Brooklyn's not at full strength, so we're probably gonna see a lot of blowouts with them. But the fact that a lot of the stinkier teams are home. And I love the idea of, like, you know, the AFC playing because it's making every game, like, you know, that much more competitive. Like the West, like, it's really, like, crazy, like, the difference between seeds 3 and 7. Like, it could change at any moment. So every game has to be winnable. So I'm excited it's back. I hope, like, you know, like Zeem said, Lou Will got to chill with the wings and the lap dances. Like, I hope we have no more lapses of that. And I'm excited to see the playoffs, man. I'm happy we got hoops from now till October.
Yeah, it feels almost like college basketball. Like,
yeah.
You know, it feels like almost like a tournament style where, like, you know, we're getting all the matchups that we want to see, like the beginning of the college year. But, I mean, I think that I'm almost positive it'll be Lakers versus Clippers in the West. I'm very interested to see how the East shakes out because it's like you have Milwaukee, but like, do they have that second guy? And Philly can't get it together. Boston don't have a big man. You know, I feel like if like OKC or Houston was in the East, that they'd be the number 2 seed.
Yeah,
and really causing havoc. But I'm very, very interested to see what happens in the East. Man, shout out to Adam Silver, and they were even making noise saying that there might be a potential bubble or bubbles next season.
I saw that, but the comments, the players was like, hell no, we ain't doing this for a whole season.
Yeah, I mean,
I think it'll be different because, well, I think we got to give the players a lot of credit for buying into all this and coming together, having those Zoom meetings, even if it's led by Kyrie, whoever, conforming to all this, because they did have to adjust their lives as well and commit to this. But the fact that the season started and then the players are coming back is the reason why they bought in. But, yeah, I don't see this happen bubble again for next year. They'll wait for a vaccine or no mask or a control on some of this moving forward.
The Lakers
NBA is back here.
Lakers stink, Josh. They stink.
Yeah,
we stink.
I don't know. Lakers
okay. Don't forget, we all.
You know what? You know what's funny is the Lakers are going to win this like series, but it's going to be 6-7 games these series. That's all I'm saying. It's not going to be like what the Lakers did with Shaq and Kobe, you know, go 12-1 leading up to the finals and nothing like that. Like every game is going to be nipped and tucked. LeBron's going to have to dig in his bag.
Yeah, but this is the problem. Like, Sean may be too young to really remember it. You only remember what happened 5 days ago. The only time the Lakers did that was once where we went like 15-1. The first trip that we went with Kobe and Shaq, we went 7 with Portland. We went 5 with Sacramento. Like, then we ran through. Then the next year, they said we cheated to like win the championship. It was, trust me, even the Kobe years, there's a lot of tough.
Yeah, they ain't have no Kawhi and PG.
Yeah, I know. Just Duncan and Robinson.
Age Scottie Pippen trying to guard Kobe.
Yeah, I know. We just had Duncan and Robinson. That's it. Just, you know, playing against them guys, playing against the Kings. I mean, you know.
Robinson was done by the time the Lakers went on their run.
No, he wasn't. 2000, he was not done.
Oh my God.
He was not done.
He came in the league like what, 85?
No, he was like 91.
David Robinson?
Yeah.
But he was already older because didn't he do like the military thing?
Yeah, he was like 23, 24, bro. He wasn't done in 2000. Come on, man. Stop trying to discredit.
And that's a 5-year vet coming in at 24 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah, listen. So one of the big controversies in the bubble, and we could probably end on this because as Skip Bayless says, we might go deep. Jonathan Isaac, young man, did not want to kneel for the national anthem protest along with both teams and coaches. His answer was a little jumbled. I mean, maybe we'll chalk it up to him being young and being a little nervous of being under the spot. But, you know, the very next game he played, he tore his ACL. Been a lot of talk on social media, like people saying, like, you know, this is what you get. Other people saying that, you know, this is sick. You guys are celebrating another man's injury. What do you guys think about this situation?
First off, I don't never want to wish no injury on nobody. Like, I would never do that, especially like an injury that's going to like potentially like take an athlete out for a long time. He may never be the same again. But I just feel as though I just never understood like the correlation with Black Lives Matter and religion. Like, why does helping to stand with, like, you know, Black people in the sense that you want to stand with them, whether it's kneeling, you know, protesting, that Black people get the same opportunity as, like, you know, every other race in this country? Why I'll never understand, or maybe somebody could break it down to me as far as how's that tie in with religion. That's what I don't get.
All right, so after doing my research, because like I said to you guys in the chat, I'm like, yo, listen, I actually understood what Jonathan was trying to say. I just felt like he didn't articulate himself or froze when the camera was in his face in the sense of what he was trying to articulate. So I just found out that as young as he is, he just came an ordained minister or pastor, Jonathan, in March. So kudos to him. You know, he wears his religion on his sleeve and he is trying to preach something. But unfortunately, what a lot of the people, basically what he was saying, all lives matter. That's I just want to say that. But he used the cover up of the Christianity and what's in the Bible. And I'm a Christian man. I've been to church. I've been in choirs. I did sermons at my church. And I am all for equality as well. And what I asked you guys is like, hey, was he denouncing BLM? And he was not. But Black Lives Matter has been getting a bad rap. It's been positioned in a political stance, in the sense of they don't believe in the nucleus of the family, which I didn't understand. They don't believe.
Let me. So they don't. So basically, that there's portions of the Black Lives Matter. If you go to their website, that says that they want to shift the narrative of that. You know, we have to be in a nuclear family, meaning like a mom, a dad, kids, and that they also like are Marxist and socialist.
Right, and their premise for that is almost aligning with the LGBTQ community. You know what I'm saying? That we live in a time and day where you might have a 2-father household that can raise a family, a 2-mother household that can raise a family. So I respect BLM in that aspect, and I can understand why that doesn't align with what's in the Bible. And it's crazy how they use certain passages in the Bible to, how do I say it?
To justify.
To justify, exactly. Thank you. And that's not the case whatsoever. And it's unfortunate because that's what he's trying to say. In the Bible, it's X, Y, and Z. So, like Charles Barkley said last week, we can't vilify him, and that's what I was trying to do to Jonathan Isaac. I just felt he did a disservice to what the hard work that we've been doing for the last 2 or 3 months with the BLM and all the traction that we was going, that his jersey sales went to number 2 because it was people who are opposed to BLM supporting like that, and they're doing it in a negative way, where Jonathan Isaac was doing it in a pure-hearted way, in the sense of, no, the reason why a t-shirt is not gonna stand hand in hand. And I have another opinion. which I kind of like. I look at all these NBA players right now taking a knee. It's just like, even when LeBron James is like, I hope, Kaepernick, I made you proud. No, you would have made Kaepernick proud if you would have knelt with him 3 years ago when it wasn't the hot thing to do. It would have been dope to you take a knee and raising your fist up in the hand, LeBron James, 3 years ago when it wasn't popular. I would have respected all that moving forward. And I felt like you guys are 2, 3 years too late in regards to that. Shout out to the NBA and letting them express themselves without no consequences, having the fear of losing potential viewership or sponsors, whatever the case may be. But right now, this is where I go back to a couple podcasts ago where I could say I was wrong, that you're right. It's easier to do it now. I was wrong 3 weeks ago. It's easier for LeBron James and CP3 and Melo. Even though you guys did these little pocket things, you didn't go the extra mile what Kaepernick has done, and it's easier to do it now. So I have no issue with Greg Popovich, who went to the Air Force, who served in the military, who, regardless of Cap saying it has nothing to do with the military, they was trained and taught. And I had no issues with Pop because Pop is the #1 advocate for BLM and BLM and attacking Trump and that ideology of nonsense. So I'm 50-50 with Jonathan Isaac, and that's where I'm going to leave it at.
I feel like it's like I agree. Like it's becoming like a
fad.
A fad to, like, take the knee, and it's like all eyes is on the person that doesn't take the knee. So it's like I saw something on Facebook today from one of my friends.
Because there was all eyes on the person who did take the knee.
Yeah.
So it's vice versa. So I agree.
I saw something on Facebook today from my friend. He's like black dude, like, athlete, high level athlete, and he's 100% against Cap. He thinks that Cap became black once that situation happened. He believes that, like, Cap didn't go about it the right way. He didn't go get a team. He just did something. He believes Cap's collecting on the side, all of that. So it's just like kind of funny to see, like, and I've heard that before too. And I feel like for the, like, minorities or the black people that don't kneel, they're kind of against, they won't go as far as to, like, speaking out on it, but I feel like they're against the way Cap went about it, if that makes sense. So it's just kind of interesting to to your friend, and what I'll say to him, what up, Boogie? I don't understand how, because basically what they're saying, everybody in the NBA now are capitalizing. I'm gonna find it to you. I'm gonna find it and read it to you. Kiko, I'm gonna find it and read it.
Because that's how I view it, in the sense of, no, what Cap, he did go about it the right way. He did speak to somebody who was in the military. The person in the military said the most respectful way is to take a knee. You pray in front of God. You propose to your wife by taking a knee. Even when my mom used to give me butt whoopings, she said, get on your knees before she brought out that belt to show me some respect and dominance of whatever the case may be, and show me respect. So I think Kaepernick did go about it the right way. Yes, I feel that his notoriety, his publicity, his fame reached a high level, but he took a lot of tongue lashing, a lot of losing his something that he loved his whole life, football, and sacrificed a lot. This is why I'll always respect Kaepernick. But I just feel now it is looking more like a fad, and I respect the players more of when, a reporter's in their face and they're like, Breonna Taylor, you guys stood in, arrest those officers. Or, not for nothing, as corny as it looks, I love the fact that J.J. Redick, Joe Ingles, Kyle Korver has Black Lives Matter on the back of their jersey. To me, that's more effective than something that Cap did 3 years ago. Even what Jay-Z said, we're past kneeling. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, you want to stick it to Donald Trump by him saying you won't show it and, losing all these fans that feel hatred in their heart. Cool. And I'm with that too. But just know, to me, you're 2-3 years late. You know what I mean? And that's my view on that. What you think, Josh?
So I'm going to read it. He says, you see NBA players after every game or interview brings awareness because that's a huge platform. not Neil Dolo, and let America speak for you. Shout out to the NBA, the players associations, players and coaches. Y'all are doing an amazing job. No white person or anyone can debate or say anything to discredit one community to big up another. Like I always said, if Cap wasn't for the money, he would have gathered his brothers together. Nothing scare white people more than a group of blacks or educated blacks. If y'all can't see he's a clown, you a clown with him. And then he like goes on to say that like Cap never, I don't want to read the comments, but his explanation was Cap doesn't say anything. And he kind of, then he talks about the settlement that was never disclosed. And he talks about like, you know, I feel as though he says he did the knee because that was like his profit. But before then he had like, you know, a white family, he had a white girlfriend. And ever since this happened, now he has the Egyptian girlfriend and everything is pro-black, but where was that before? That's what he's
and to me, that's terrible. That's Josh, I'll let you speak on it, then I'll chime in. I'm sorry.
I just don't understand, like, there's going to be, like, no perfect, quote-unquote, martyr. Like, people could take a look at George Floyd's rap sheet and be like, why are we, you know, giving it up for this dude, and why would we care about his death? It's like, yo, listen, Cap, when he did that, was like 26, 20, 27. I'm 35. I think about how different I am now than I was at 27, and how different you are at 27 than you were at 22. That's why when we talked about it in the chat, and even like when I chimed in, I'm like, yo, Jonathan Isaac is 21. He's 22. He's into his religion. He might look back on this 4 or 5 years later and be like, yo, it wasn't about religion. I should have stood in solidarity with other black men. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not about kneeling and saying like black lives are better or blah, 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 blah. Or even like it's not like when I say Black Lives Matter, I'm not thinking about like the corporation or the organization. I'm just thinking about, the fact that, Black Lives Matter. And I mean, listen, Cap is imperfect, but I think that the thing that I like about Cap is Cap knows he's not articulate. He's not the most well-spoken dude. And when he did speak up, everyone came at him when he said that he didn't want to vote for Hillary or Trump because they're two sides of the same coin. So like people was coming at him. He's like, yo, I'm gonna let my work speak. You know what I'm saying? And he gave up millions of dollars when he didn't have a guaranteed contract. So now for people to come at him, it's just like, damn, bro, like, yes, the guy's not perfect. Yes, he grew up in a nice white family, but, he obviously evolved and changed. It happens. Like, look at, like, the difference between, like, a Malcolm X when he was 25 and when he was 35. It's a huge difference. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. No, that's all facts. Like, I mean, that's facts. And I had to learn a lot, too. Like, like, I respect Cap for what he did, but I kind of sometimes, like, find myself saying, like, I got, like, offended when he came at Jay-Z because it's like, yo, like, how dare you? Like, you live this, like, great life. Like, obviously you are a black man, but there's certain situations where, like, you're the best athlete in your town and you're living with a white family. You may not have faced certain hardships that like other people face, but at the same time, you still are black, and you still gonna have to somewhat go through whatever the struggles may be. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like Josh, you're of mixed race, but for the most part, I feel like it's a little different because if you didn't tell me, I would think you're Cape Verdean. Like, no one would ever know you were white unless you said it in like the communities that you've like, you grew up in and like where your dad's coached. Like, if you think of Josh, you say black man. You know what I'm saying? So and you've had a black father that instilled certain things in you. So I always had the issue with, and the only thing I had the issue with Cap is, and like you just said a minute ago, not everybody's perfect, not everybody's a martyr in their own way and how they decide to handle it. But you did this one thing, Cap, which was very good. It's historical. It's going to go down in the history books. But who are you to tell somebody about their moves when they
Thank you.
That's the only issue I've ever had with Cap.
Thank you. Can you guys still hear me, first of all?
Yep.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Before you go, I'm gonna say this. So I understand why Cap got mad. I don't think that it was a black or white thing or like it was like, damn, bro, like you wore my jersey. You were saying you're not messing with the NFL, and now here you are yucking it up with them. And you came at me saying that we're not going to kneel no more. So I understand that. I didn't like that two black men was arguing, and we spoke about that. But we also spoke in the group chat, and I said, Jay-Z is like one of my idols. Like I look up to Jay-Z, but I felt that just that situation was just nasty. And Jay-Z is not perfect, and he might feel like, damn, I might have made a mistake in doing that press conference, sitting next to this dude, yucking it up. Maybe I could have went about it a different way, but nobody's perfect. And Jay-Z's Jay-Z's done so much. How can you really hate on him? And then you have Kaepernick on the other side that's been doing the work with his organization since he started kneeling. So they're both doing great work.
And to me, Cap put his money where his mouth is, literally in the sense of losing money, and then the money that he did have donating into these different causes. And we live in a society where if you don't do what we want you to do or how I envision you should do it, we're going to criticize you. And that's what ends up happening. And I think, Josh, you brought up a great point. He already spoke on it. He already told you what he was doing for, and you guys critiqued his words and dissected it to the umpteenth degree, and you still picked and choose what you wanted to listen to and what you wanted to instill in regards of why he was doing what he was doing. Kaepernick, to me, in my eyes, was ahead of the game, and he was ahead of the game in the sense of he was willing to put himself out there. And to me, I think that's more of an identity crisis of growing up in a white family in the uproots, feeling disconnected from your original roots and what, when you get pulled over, what a cop actually views you as, or when you sign your job application, you're African American, and knew that this is my way to tie in my ties with them. Because we have battles in the chat, and Josh, I know your views change over time, but you was very critical of Colin Kaepernick and Kenny Stills in their upbringing. And
I wasn't critical. I was critical of Marcellus and Whitlock using that up because I'm a mixed race person. So yeah, like you know what I'm saying. Sean kind of.
You're right. Go ahead, finish, but you're right.
Sean explained my situation. So just growing up on the East Side, I remember one time we did a birthday party. The whole East Side is in some big VIP, and you're like, yo, how do you know these people? Like I would never expect you to like know these people, and these are people that I grew up playing sports with, grew up going to lock-ins with, grew up going to bootleggers and Barry's with, like so. But I also have that other frame of reference where, like, I experienced racism against me, and I also experienced racism in a different way. Where I think, like, for Kaepernick, he's probably a little bit more because he was because he was adopted by a white family. So the thing that a lot of people people never want to give you credit for evolving. And sometimes I fall into this category too, and I constantly have to check myself. Me and Dot have been in arguments about this, but Kaepernick, raised by a white family, he goes to college, he's like completely insulated by athletics. Then, you know, he gets out in the world, he's a professional, he's on his own, and you start to learn things about yourself and learn things about your history that you were shielded from. So now that you have that information, he's like, yo, I don't like this. This happened to me. I don't like this. And he evolved. Is Cap perfect? No. Does Cap have the same lived experience as like a Jay-Z? Absolutely not. Jay-Z, Marcy Projects, been having bad interactions with the police since he was 10, 12 years old. You know what I'm saying? So they're both coming at the same problem from different ways. And, you know, right. I didn't like when Jay-Z said that shit about kneeling, and I didn't like when Kaepernick and Eric Reed was trying to come at Jay-Z because, like, that's Jay-Z.
And I just feel like from, like, our communities, like, I don't know, maybe I speak for myself, but when you're from certain communities, you're like, damn, like, and I'm sure it wasn't, I don't think it was any a dollar amount the NFL could have paid Jay-Z, but it's like, yo, it's a power thing. So it's like, I'm from here, and now I'm gonna be here, so I'm gonna be part of that. And I don't think it's more so about the race part. I think it's more so about like where Cap is from. And it's like, you don't understand why I made that decision. This is, you evolve, cool. You know what I'm saying? You evolve, you learn certain things, and you're like, I don't like this, and I'm gonna speak out. That's perfect. I love it. You just learned, this is just became you. You trying to tell me that I gotta change my way of thinking because it didn't align with you?
Well, then, but then if we want to be technical, Kaepernick could shoot back and be like, well, you were destructive for the first 30 years of your life. Fair or foul, put in different circumstances, we all do different things. But that's always like the line, and that's why like it's hard for me to have the conversation because like Kaepernick could say like, dude, you were destructive to the own community for this amount of time, whereas Jay-Z can say, bro, like you just learned to be black two weeks ago. Like,
and I think that stems from now we're just shooting the messenger. Oh, you're more blacker than I'm blacker. You have this type of experience, and it can't be that way because at the end of the day, when another race views us, we're black. You got cornrows, fro. You're this melanin, that melanin. And that goes back to the light skin versus dark skin and what in our own black culture we've been fighting with for years. And that's what I don't want. And I'd seen that happening during that time. Jay-Z's like, you know what? To really get action, we actually got to sit in the room with these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And actually show something. To get power, and that's how Jay-Z seemed like that's how you really get the message across, by sitting in these rooms and challenging them. And I remember you said you was kind of disgusted sitting side by side but with Goodell during that time. And I seen what Jay-Z was trying to do. But I, to this day, look at Colin Kaepernick, despite his upbringing, he started the narrative on an athletic level, which Jackie Robinson experienced, Muhammad Ali, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Many have sat in that type of seat and they was vilified during those times. But Colin Kaepernick positioned himself down the line 20, 30 years from now to be looked at very favorable when hopefully things stop moving in the right direction.
Can I ask you a question? I wanna kind of zoom down. That was a great point, but I want to tie it back to Jonathan Isaac and religion. So one thing I want to say is like sometimes when I say things, I'm like, damn, who is agreeing with me? If I make a statement, especially something that important, and I'm seeing that all the people in agreement with me are all the blue lives matter, all lives out, and I'm a black man, I'm like, maybe I felt that way. Maybe I need to just think about who's agreeing with me and what I'm saying.
Right.
And then secondly, I want to pose this to you. Religion is great, I think, in the sense that it can build community. It can really build community. Like Zine could speak to it more so, like that whole African church community. You guys are close to this day. You know, the parents are close, the grandparents are close. Everyone's play cousins basically and growing up. But I think that also religion can be used as a tool to pacify people, especially black people. How do you guys feel about that?
Religion is important. Religion is definitely important, but I don't like to put my personal views on it. Believe what you want to believe, but I just feel like your faith is your faith, and just to sum it up, like whatever your faith is, I guess that's what you gotta go with. But you just gotta, I don't know, I always think back like what's written in there, who wrote it, who put it there, like, you know, whoever was the writer of it, who did it appease to at the time.
Yes.
That's kind of what I constantly think about.
And I definitely agree with that in the sense, I just know that, and I know the premise that you're getting with Jonathan Isaac, like you may feel this way, but is it a detriment to what you truly believe in the pure heartness in regards to that? And what he was trying to say, unfortunately, aligned
and I know this wasn't his intention, and this is when we go to him being young, him not researching, him not educating himself more, that it didn't align to, it kind of set us back. And when you seen those jersey sales, I knew it was coming from the Blue Lives Matter and a lot of these cathedral people who disagree with BLM and go to the website and try to use, well, the reason why I'm against it because of my religion, and it's breaking up the family nucleus. And that's something that Jonathan Isaac, hopefully while he's recovering, looks back on like, damn, maybe I dropped the ball. And I hope he has an opportunity to articulate himself even more, because he constantly said, I am for BLM and Black Lives Matter. But unfortunately, that T-shirt and kneeling suppresses this in his thought process, which I felt like it set us back. And he was almost like a blackface, almost like a Terry Crews and what he's been doing to what's been transpiring with the whole BLM.
Absolutely. Nah, man, I think you guys surmised that point great, man. Another great episode. We're just happy the NBA is back, but we're still keeping a close eye on all social issues. And we're going to continue to talk about social issues on this podcast. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be, we're going to have our fun. We're going to joke around. We're going to talk about ratchet shit. We're going to talk about music. We're going to talk about sports. But we are going to keep our eye on the prize and focus on the things that are going on around us, especially as men in our community. It's super important that we do that. Fellas, great podcast, man. Enjoy the rest of this Laker game.
Hold on,
right,
y'all.
What?
Your Philly just got hit with a buzzer beater. Your Spurs, that was up. Now it's,
you was up and the Philly hit a buzzer beater?
They hit, there's 1 second left. And then update.
Damn. We're fighting shit. I just want to get to that playoff game.
You don't want the Spurs in there. I already know that.
Shut up, man. I'll let y'all.